and we'll see if Martinez can stay with him. Let's see how long it is before Landa plonks himself back in the saddle and stops this drive. He's holding it out there as long as he possibly can and gets beseated once more. That is Martinez with just behind him Vlasov. Tucking in behind them is Chris Harper, just guiding up Egan Bernal, who's here. Bernal can sometimes turn it on from a situation such as this, and that's João Almeida, who's just dragging up at the rear, not going to get involved in any of the attacks as Tadej Pogacar heads on. Pennant man, whistle man, doing his job here, almost karate chopping Mikel Landa as he does so.
There's a group just behind Carlton. There's two riders coming up, and there's a group of about a dozen riders just behind them. This is clear that the pace is out. They're not helping each other. No. They're racing each other. They're taking Pogacar out the equation. Even if all 6 roads, or all 5, because Almeida's there, even if they all roads, they're not going to catch him. So this is a case of, right, I'm trying to, think of the other rivals, trying to get onto the podium. And like Landa you say, nice to see that Landa is showing this form, and rightly so. Martinez,
yeah, he's fading.
I'm just wondering who's in this group just behind, whether they can come back, because this is stop-start racing for the 6 here.
Mikel Landa has got a little bit of a gap at the moment against Alexander Vlasov, who is really coming back into form. That's great to see. Lenny Martinez, maybe his busy start to the season and great success is just having a toll on him right now, and Landa is determined. He goes again. Garda just getting themselves out of the way as he tries to just knock off the nose of every single one of these apexes. And Landa is determined here, and this is great. Not quite sure what the gap is. We'll be picking up with Tadej Pogacar as he finishes shortly, but it's nudging up to, I think it'll possibly be around about the minute mark at the end. Certainly with factored in bonus seconds as well. But Vlasov is doggedly staying with Landa here, and I think he might mug him at the end. They go by the 2Ks to go marker, and if it is a minute, it may well be a margin of about 500 or 600 meters to Tadej Pogacar at this sort of pace. Landa still going for it, and Vlasov still staying with him. He's going to half wheel him in a few moments' time and get into his head, I believe. Mountain surface here, as you can see, slightly cut up, frost fractured as it has been, but blowing it all apart. This race, Tadej Pogacar is the impresario. He's gone for it. Cameras here in Spain, of course, staying with Mikel Landa. Even if we have the opportunity to see more of Tadej Pogacar up the road, they want a successful run for Landa. Those watching on the phones, not realising just how quickly they are approaching here. You just watch it in the old style with your eyes. That'd be a nice thing. They've got some twists and turns still to have, but Tadej Pogacar is bringing this home. A brave effort by Landa, but I fear for him that Alexander Vlasov is going to have him here, Brian.
This bodes well for Evenepoel. I know he's not here, but the fact that Landa has shown this kind of form in this race, you got to remember he was taken on by Soudal-QuickStep to help Evenepoel in the Tour de France, and if he's on this sort of form, he's going to be a considerable amount of help.
Well, the motorcycles are one thing, but you kind of feel that Tadej Pogacar is, he almost rides like he's on board one. Phenomenal. Just waiting for him to come around the headland here and reveal himself. Can't see him just for the time being. Those are the security bikes going through. I don't think he's been through just yet, but not that long to wait. The hairpins just raining down upon them like hammer blows, those who are chasing on. Still Landa is the main pursuer. João Almeida just struggling to keep up for the time being. In fact, he's now in a trio of chasers. Alexander Vlasov here is getting a free ride on the back wheel of Mikel Landa. Doesn't have to go through because Landa just wants to, I guess, make a statement for his own team apart from anything else. Oh, that's never a good sign when you're trying to shake the feeling back into your fingertips, Brian. It's cold, and that's a big display.
Yeah, it's, but we're almost there. We're inside the last 2 kilometres. I think for Landa, he's just looking behind to see what damage he's done. Vlasov, I don't think can offer too much. He seems to be kind of hanging on. He's not prepared to work at all. Landa does look good, but just be interesting to see what he's looking at. Who's just behind, but Pogacar must be close to the finishing line now.
He must be, but our Spanish picture providers here have not picked him up just for the time being, and finally here he is. Tadej Pogacar, genius at work. It's up to a minute now, we understand from Race Radio, that he has an advantage, as we suspected it might be. Well, he's kind of used to doing this. What he did in Strade Bianche so far this year. 3rd place in San Remo, 2nd, of course, on only his 3rd day of racing, don't forget. Yesterday, should have won it, could have won it, didn't win it. And so today, he wanted to do a Strada. And he has absolutely strode away from absolutely everybody. This is his game, and everyone else is here by invitation only, it seems. Tadej Pogacar is in charge, he's in the lead, and by an enormous margin. And don't be surprised if he only goes and wins it again tomorrow. Fabulous effort by this man today, tomorrow, and forever, it seems, in charge. This is genius at work. Watch that clock. Everybody else in his wake, and a wake-up call to everybody. He's on form, Brian. That's dangerous.
Yeah, big statement there. I know we had so many interviews today that, you know, was it going to be about Pogacar? And a lot of them said there's a lot of quality bike riders in this this race, and there are, but he's just blown them all away.
Vlasov's going to come round, Landa, I just feel it. But let's see. He's doing. He does look exhausted, I have to say. Of the pair of them, Landa looks best. Slight grimace from him. He's already displayed the fact that he's got losing the fingers in his, losing the sensation in his fingertips here. That's never a good thing. When you start to get that awful freeze cramp in the end of your fingertips. But Landa does have this by the looks of things, unless Vlasov's going to pick it up and suddenly dig very, very deep. Landa's gone away to finish in 2nd place here, and that is a fine performance by Mikel Landa. Bodes very well for Remco Evenepoel. If this is his super domestique, he's on super form as well. Tadej Pogacar has the day, he has the race lead, and he has a margin of 1:22 at the line. That is phenomenal, plus bonuses as well. Vlasov closest too, and here comes Sepp Kuss just bouncing around the corner. And it's but it's also round places for these guys, I'm afraid. Almeida comes across the line to make it 1 and 4. Then Martinez just tucked in behind him. Is Chris Harper crossing the line right now? Egan Bernal just stamps on the pedals to get to the line, and it just shows you as well as there were some chasers, and Enric Mas was part of that, Brian.
Yeah, Mas was one of the riders that was distance and was climbing strong towards the end. This is Wout Poels, Rubio, Sepp Kuss also in there. I tell you what, that's probably the hardest ascent I've seen in the history of Volta dos Mil. The peloton is just shattered. The conditions made it hard, but I just think the ride by Pogacar just blew everybody away, and they're all over the place. Quintana, Yates, Laurens de Plus. It's just been a dominating performance, and everybody's gone deep.
No halting Tadej Pogacar in his progress this year. It's just phenomenal. 1:23, indeed, he takes. That's his gap to Mikel Landa. Plus, of course, he has the additional 10-second bonus for winning, 6 seconds bonus for Landa, and 4 seconds for Vlasov to be trimmed off their times. But Tadej Pogacar is well and truly in charge. Vlasov, Almeida, Martinez, Harper, Bernal, Mas, Poels, and Diaz. That's how your top 10 rang in, but top of the pile is Tadej Pogacar.